Hello and welcome to the 3-time award-winning Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you while increasing the amount of female role models in the media. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. If you love adventure, challenge, and hearing from women who share their stories and provide top tips and advice to help you take on your own personal challenges, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. New episodes go live every Tuesday at 7 a.m. UK time, with bonus episodes happening on a Thursday. You can support the Tough Girl mission by signing up as a patron by visiting Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. Keep listening until the very end as I share more information about what's going on with me, with Tough Girl challenges, give shout outs, and recommend other Tough Girl podcast episodes. More information can be found at toughgirlchallenges.com.
I'm Beth. I'm a 22-year-old vet student and dragon boater based in Nottingham. Currently in my final year of vet school, which is really tough, but I'm on a placement year. I've been really busy at the moment with organising and doing all these work placements. So I had a night shift last night. Yeah.
What type of animals are you working with at the moment?
Last night I was with small animals, so mainly dogs and cats, but tomorrow I'm back with horses, which is my favourite. I really like the horse stuff, so I'm excited.
Oh, fantastic. So you're 22, vet student, final year, amazing. You mentioned about the dragon boat racing, and we're definitely going to come and talk to you about that in a little bit. But I just want to go back to your earlier years. Did you always have a passion for animals? Did you spend a lot of time outdoors in nature?
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I've really loved animals. Every opportunity I'd be with them, and for my birthdays, I'd always get sort of gifts to do with animals. So I did a few keeper for a day sort of experiences. And then as I grew up, I was like, oh, I really want to be a vet because I want to help treat the animals. So yeah, I did my A-levels. I did biology, chemistry, and maths, which was hard, but got me to vet school. And here we are.
Have you done much sports throughout school or not really?
Funnily enough, when I was a kid, I actually hated doing sports. When I was a little kid, I hated doing PE. But then when I got a little bit older, sort of towards teenage years, I started getting into, I did swimming for a club and I did netball. And I sort of enjoyed doing it a lot more in my free time, where I could pick the sports that I wanted to do more. Yeah, and then it sort of just grew from there.
So tell us about dragon boating. How did you find out about this?
So I started in my first year of uni. So back in 2021, there's a local team called Soaring Dragons based in Loughborough. And we had a uni open day. Obviously, it was during COVID, so there wasn't much else going on sort of thing at uni. And we got invited to an open day. And I was like, oh, why don't I just go see if I can meet some new people? Because I hadn't really met anyone, because obviously we were sort of in COVID times. And yeah, I just loved it. And I went back the next week and started training with them and never stopped since.
So what is dragon boat racing?
It's a sport that's done all over the world. It originated in China. And what it is you have big boats which seat 20 paddlers plus a drummer that sits on the front and beats the drum in time with the paddlers. And then you have a helm that stands at the back and steers the boat. And the paddlers sit in pairs down the boat. So you paddle on one side. So I paddle on the left. And basically you're trying to obviously make the boat go as fast as you can. We paddle in distances of 200, 500 and 2 kilometers. And some events also include a 1 kilometer race. But the 2 kilometer also includes turns, which is always quite exciting because there's always collisions and things like that on the turns, and it gets a bit exciting. But yeah, and then we also have the small boat competitions where it's just 10 paddlers.
So when you first started off, how did it work? Was there a big group of you who were all learning together? Was it quite an established club at that point? What was it like at the very beginning?
The club that I joined, there was a lot of people that had been paddling for a few years, but it was still quite a new club. And because COVID had sort of happened, they'd kind of struggled. Well, a lot of clubs struggled a bit during COVID, so they were sort of starting to build themselves back up again. They had quite a good foundation, but yeah, there are a few paddlers that have been paddling for years, but there was a sort of group of us that were just learning and getting into the sport, and there was a few other students as well that were getting into it, but they were all really welcoming. And yeah, we got involved, got like made to feel welcome, and learned a lot very quickly.
So with the learning, like how do you learn? Like how do they teach you? Like are you straight away sort of put into a boat on the water? Are there specific rules and regulations? How does that side of things work?
So you get put in a boat pretty much, well, straight off really. There's a bit more safety sort of, you have to wear like a buoyancy aid and stuff when you first start. Dragon boats are actually really, really hard to capsize. Like I've rarely see them ever capsize because they're so big. They're quite safe, really. But yeah, part of the reason I really enjoyed it is they kind of just let you get in and start trying to figure it out yourself and just get on with it, really. It's really good to just get in as a beginner, because I do rowing as well, but that was like, I've really enjoyed that, but I sort of had to work my way up to being on the water and sort of do a lot of training on the ergs first. But yeah, the dragon boating was really good because it was sort of straight out in the boat on the river, and it was just really nice escape from like the stresses of everyday life.
How often are you training?
I train as much as I can. This year with uni's been a bit challenging because every 2 weeks I'm on a different rotation, so like a different work placement, so my hours vary quite a lot. But I try and get out as much as I can. I was training probably 6 times a week when I was like paddling really competitively, but I still train a few times a week, but it's just harder with uni at the moment. And also winter, sometimes the river's flooded and stuff, and it can make it a bit more difficult, but I still get out there as much as I can.
So how does it work? Are there like badges you can get? Are there qualifications that you can get? It's like how do you progress and move up the ranks? Or is it more based on like experience and skills, or are there like levels?
So it's a really good sport for like involving everyone and their different skill sets. And I think obviously having more experience is an advantage in general, because so in the boat, the pair that sit at the front on the front seat is called the stroke pair, and they're in charge of setting the rate sort of thing. So the more experienced paddlers tend to sit there, which I do quite a bit. Also, in terms of coaching, so you can get qualified as a helm, so you stand on the back and steer, and there's different coaching levels you can work up as well. Yeah, so that comes with experience and like planning sessions and things like that.
Have you done any of the coaching things?
Yeah, so I'm a qualified helm. I only got into this probably this time last year. I started helming, like learning to helm, which is really difficult. You have to stand on the back, so it takes quite a lot of balance, and you have this helm stick, and you sort of using it to steer, but like just steering sort of backwards to what you think it would be. So in order to make the boat go left, you have to pull the stick right. But yeah, I'm a qualified helm. I have done a bit of coaching, mainly focused with our women's crew, which I've really enjoyed, like trying to push the women a bit more and really get our crew to sort of grow and develop. And then sort of summer last year, I got into race helming. So I helmed a few races. I helmed at nationals, which was pretty terrifying. I don't think anyone else knew how nervous I was because I had to be strong for the team, and like get us lined up on the start line, which is quite difficult because it's always windy. Where we race at Home Pierpont, get us all lined up on the start line and then get down the course. But the buzz was amazing. It was really fun. And I got to like shout at the team all the way down. But yeah, I have enjoyed the sort of coaching aspects of particularly the women's crew, because I know a lot more about what we're working on and like the sort of plan for that crew, which is really good.
I didn't realise that there was a Great Britain Premier Dragon Boat squad, which you're a member of. So how did you become a member of the squad? And tell us a little bit more about what that involved.
So I started paddling 2021. And then, so there's multiple GB squads. So there's juniors, there's under 18, there's under 24s, there's Premier, which is sort of anyone of any age can go for Prems, but it tends to be like sort of 18, 24 up to 40. And then there's a senior A crew, which is 40 to 50, senior B 50 up, and then a senior C crew. So as part of like the whole GB journey, they run what are called BNTS sessions. So they're basically taster sessions where anyone from any club across the country can go along and sort of try out the training, see how, like, what improvements they can make to their paddling, see the sort of commitment they're letting themselves in for. So I went to a few of them towards the end of 2021. I was still a very new paddler then, and was sort of like, yeah, this is fun, but I'm not quite ready for this yet. So I went away and did a lot of training over 2022. And then sort of towards the end of 2022, I decided that I was, going to take it a bit more seriously, went along to a few more BNTS sessions, really upped my training because I really wanted to trial. And then 2023, it was sort of February time, I think, trialed for, got selected for it. And then, put in a lot of training. We had to do quite a lot of training weekends sort of across the country. We had paddlers from everywhere from like Durham all the way down to kind of Raysbury, right down in the south. So we had paddlers from all across the country. Yeah.
So tell us more about the training. Were you given like a specific training plan? Was that like strength and conditioning? Was that running? Was it specific mobility or movement exercises? What did the training look like?
So we had sort of like recommended amounts of training and like training diaries where we could record what we were doing. So I was doing like quite a lot of paddling and also gym, like strength training as well. And then we had weekend training camps where we do a Saturday and a Sunday, sort of 3 sessions each day. That was once a month, I think. I'm not quite sure how often that was. So we'd all get together and get in a boat and basically paddle. We had like quite a nice group. So we had sort of a WhatsApp group and we'd all kind of share training ideas and plans and sort of suggested sessions for each other, which was really good. I was lucky that there wasn't anyone else from that at the time. I was paddling for a club called Soaring Dragons. There wasn't anyone else from my team that was in the Premier squad, but there's another crew called Knots Anaconda that train in Nottingham that had 3 paddlers that were in the squad. So I did quite a lot of training with them, and we sort of trained with each other, gave each other ideas, pushed each other in training, which was really beneficial.
What's the team dynamics like? Because especially if you're sort of all coming from all over the country, you're placed in a boat with people that you need to work together with. How does that work?
We got on really well as a crew. I think, I think as a crew we bonded really well and we all got on. It was really nice. There wasn't any sort of like cheekiness or anything. And I think the main thing is we all just wanted to get in a boat and paddle and do the best we could do. So it was like having a really shared common goal that helped us all get along, I guess. Obviously it was challenging, like long days, hard training, but I think we all got on really, really well. And we all chatted outside of training, and it's really nice as well because when we do like race days with our club, we all see each other and we get to meet up with each other. Obviously, we're on different ends then and we're competing against each other, but it's always really nice to see everyone. And I still see them at race days now and have a good old chat. It goes really well.
I think it's really interesting with like team dynamics, because obviously as an individual, you've got to give your all. And I can imagine, and maybe this is just me, like there could be elements or times when you get a little bit frustrated when you think people aren't necessarily pulling their weight or being as committed or as passionate as you are to the sport. How would you handle that?
I probably took it to a different level of training. Like I was very competitive, but I wasn't so much competitive with my teammates or like thinking I want to be better than my teammates. It was more being competitive with myself and thinking I want to be the best that I can be to help my team out rather than like trying to, you know, compete with everyone else or like compare with other people. So like, I was kind of like, I'm going to do the best that I can. And then other people will commit to it what they can. So obviously everyone's at different parts of life and, people commit to it what they can. So there's someone in our team that's had a baby, like, and I think we should like celebrate just everyone committing to it what they can and like trying their best for the team.
I used to row up at Durham for my
Mm,
college, Hild and Bede, and I especially we were in a four. And to be honest, I think one of the things that used to drive me was that I just didn't want to let anybody else down. So because
yeah,
you didn't want, or for me, I just didn't want to be the weakest link as such, or the one who gave up, or the
yeah,
one who wasn't pulling hard enough.
yeah.
That's a massive sort of driver. But you're obviously, hugely passionate about it, and it ended up taking you to the World Championships in Thailand. Tell us more about that trip, that adventure.
Yeah, so that was in 2023. It was an experience. Obviously, dragon boating is not a particularly well-known sport in this country, and it is growing. I think there's over 30 teams in the country now. So it's not the biggest sport, but it's definitely growing and the awareness of it's becoming more. In Asia, it's huge. It's a massive sport. They sort of do it so much. All the kids are brought up doing the sport. I think quite a lot of like as part of their training, some of the military and stuff do it. So it is really competitive, like worldwide. Obviously, going to Thailand was a bit of a challenge because all the Asian teams came out in force. Also, some other teams that are really good, as like Canada were the strongest team. So it was tough. It was really tough because there was a lot of really good competition. And it's easy to kind of get disheartened and think, oh, there's a lot of teams that are better than me here. But we did manage to get some good results. So the 2K, we got sixth or seventh, I think, which was quite good. And also a lot of other teams, there are athletes that they do that full time. And you have to remember in this country, we're all doing full time careers as well as the sport. Like in this country, we don't get funded to go, whereas other countries, they get funded, they get sponsorship, things like that. So, yeah, it was a really good experience. It was really eye opening to watch a lot of the other teams. There's a Ukrainian team actually, which is really impressive. They did really well. And I think there was a moment in, so the 2 kilometer race with the turns, the Ukrainians, bless them, managed to take on a lot of water, I think the wash from the other boats, and they kind of sunk. But because dragon boats are double skin, they don't actually sink. So the gunnel sits just below the water, and they actually paddled the last, I think it was like 200 meters underwater all the way to the finish line. But it was just like amazing because it showed their like spirit and determination to get to the finish line, and everyone was up in the stands cheering. And it was just really nice because, yeah, we were all competing, but then everyone was there supporting each other as well.
Could you talk us through in detail the race from the start to the finish in terms of race strategy, what goes on beforehand, what happens when the noise goes off, what shouts are being shouted, how many strokes per minute, really talk to us about what it looks like throughout a race.
Yeah, so when we raced in Thailand, we had things called buckets, which are like, I'm sure you know if you've done rowing, like you basically put the front of your boat in the bucket and it holds you on the line, sort of thing. We don't actually have that when we race in this country, but it really helps get the boats lined up. So then we have like a cruise, are you ready? Which means everyone sort of puts their paddles in the water and gets ready to go. And then the starter says attention. So you take a big breath in and then they'll say go. And you do like a really big first stroke. Dragon boats are not the easiest to get moving. They're very heavy. They're sort of 300 kilos plus, I think. But they're quite hard to get shifting. So you sort of kind of do like a really focus on doing that power on the first. So when we paddle with our club, it's the first three strokes. We really put emphasis on sort of going really hard down with our blades and pushing really hard. And then once the boat gets moving, we kind of go up through the race a little bit. And then we do a sort of start sequence. And then we do like a 2-1 sort of reach or some sort of call like that. At which point the rate usually comes down a bit and you sort of focus on getting a really long stroke and like keeping the boat speed up as much as you can and sort of, getting a chance to breathe is quite nice. And the helm on the back will be basically shouting at you the whole way, like anything they've noticed in the boat. Things like quite often people get a bit excited in a race. Obviously, it's exciting. There's a boat next to you. People sort of speed up and, might rush a little bit. And you kind of want to try and stay as one tight unit, everyone's blades going in at the same time to help the boat go quicker. And then you sort of get towards the end of the course, and then they'll call a line call, the helm will call a line call, at which point you want to focus on getting really long, getting that strength into that stroke. The rate might come up a little bit, but quite often it's just focus on really getting that power and getting that final push over the line.
So what's going through your head, especially like during a race with like the final push, you're giving it your all, you're physically very tired. Is anything going through your head? Are you using like mantras, or are you just focused on the stroke? Mentally, what's going on?
I think it's just like keep going. But I know quite a few people that say don't ever look at the other boat because it can get in your head and kind of distract you. But I don't mind a little peek at another boat to just go, oh my gosh, they're quite close, because I find it motivates me. And I'm quite good at not panicking, just kind of going, oh my gosh, there's a boat next to me, and really like focusing on applying all that power and just emptying the tank on the line. So yeah, it's definitely like a tough mental element to just giving it your all and just thinking, I've only got 50 meters to go. I just need to get over that line as quick as I can, give it everything. Yeah.
How are your hands? Because yeah, how do your hands get pretty battered?
They're not great. They're quite, well, they've got a lot of calluses going on, a lot of blisters, but yeah, your hands do get quite a lot of use just holding the paddle, but yeah, they're okay.
So Beth, you've shared with us about heading over to Thailand, being part of the team, rowing with is it called an oar? What do you got? The paddle? What would you call
Paddle,
it?
yeah.
We're on the paddle. You've been part of the helm, but the other position that you mentioned was with is the drummer, or keeping the rhythm. Have you done that position?
Yeah, so back in, what year was it? 2023 Nationals. This happened in about September at Home Pierpoint in Nottingham. I actually had an injury, so I wasn't able to paddle. So I thought, why not? Let's try drumming. I couldn't helm at that point, so that wasn't an option. So I ended up drumming for actually another team called Three River Serpents, who were lovely. Still have loads of friends there to this day. They were so welcoming and nice. Yeah, and why not just sit on the tiny drum seat for the first time on a really windy course with loads of boats around you, holding on for dear life, trying to shout at them as best I can. Yeah, so basically you sit on the front, it's quite a small seat, and you're going backwards at speed, and you watch the front pair of paddlers who are setting the rate, and you basically drum in time with them. So every time their paddle goes in, you hit the drum, and you also get the lovely benefit of shouting at them to try and encourage them and get them to paddle quicker, which they all loved, I'm sure. Yeah, it was a really fun experience. It was definitely nice to get a different perspective on things and kind of watch everyone in the boat and get involved with another team as well. I've raced with them a few times, which I've really enjoyed. And just, yeah, it was a new experience, a newfound respect for drummers, definitely, because I feel like sometimes people think they're not that important in the boat because they're not paddling, they're not actually physically propelling the boat. But a good drummer can make a huge difference to a race. They can really help a team win a race by, they can be strategic, they can see all the other boats, they can call things at the right time, and you get a good dynamic going with the helm. It really, really helps the crew.
What are your racing plans for the rest of this year? Have you got much going on with dragon boat racing in 2025?
Unfortunately, I'm not paddling for GB this year just because with uni, I've not been able to make it work, which is a real shame because I'd love to be there, obviously. But I'll definitely be heading back to trials the end of this year, beginning of next year. I'll be racing so I paddle for Knots Anaconda now. I'll be racing with them this season. I'm not sure how many race events we've actually got, but we've got a few across the country, and obviously nationals in September time as well. So yeah, I'll be traveling with them, getting my racing in, which should be really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have to transport the boat every time to the different competitions?
Yeah, so we take our boat with us. We have someone that tows the boat. It's usually a guy called Neil. He's our like equipment officer. But yeah, he has a big trailer, takes the boat, which, as you can imagine, going down the M1 with the dragon boat, which is I'm not sure how long they are, long, like 40 foot or something, very long boats that yeah, they transport, and then we get there, get it on the water, sort ourselves out, and then we sort of race all day. So the first race is usually sort of 9:30, 10, and we race 200s, mixed and open, 200 men and women, and then 500. And some race venues also do a 2K. Yeah, so we do that. That's good.
What's your favourite distance?
I quite like a 500 just because at 200, I don't really find that I have a chance to not settle, but get into it. You sort of do a start and then it's for 10, 20 strokes and then it's the end. And then I do like a 2K as well, to be fair. It's always very exciting because there's always boats that crash into each other. But yeah, I wouldn't do that as a helm just yet. I'm a bit scared. But definitely fun one to paddle. Certainly when it's over, I think it's more exciting.
Where can people find you on social media? How can they follow along with your dragon boating journey? Where should they go?
I definitely recommend following Not Anaconda on Instagram and Facebook. There's a really lovely lady called Helen who runs it and does a really good job. Yeah, so follow that. And then there's also a GB Prems Instagram account. I think it's called GB Prems DB that you can follow. And then the governing body is called the BDA, so the British Dragon Boat Association, also has social media.
Oh, fantastic. Final words of advice for other women who are thinking, do you know what? I want to give dragon boating a try. I want to step outside my comfort zone, do something a little bit different. What advice would you like to share? But please don't say just do it.
I think definitely contact your local club and give it a go. If you go onto the BDA website, I'm pretty sure they have a map of all the different clubs so you can find your closest one. All clubs in this country are super welcoming, super friendly. It's definitely a very close-knit community. Everyone gets on really well, and I think everyone sort of supports everyone from all walks of life, all backgrounds, things like that. We're such a mixed bunch of people. We have various ages, genders, backgrounds, things like that. That, yeah, you should come along. Everyone will be really friendly, and it's definitely one of the most amazing things I've done. I love racing with the men, obviously, but I think racing as a women's crew is something so amazing because you get on the water, and there's just boats of women everywhere. And I just think it's so empowering because, you're all working together. It's such a good community. When we race with the women, we race with 14 paddlers instead of 20. So it definitely shows how strong and powerful women can be and how empowered they should be. But the thing I also like about dragon boating is you can commit to it what you want. You don't have to be training all the time. And you can still go and race and you can still go and be competitive. You could even just come along and cheer your team along. And, it's not as high a level of commitment as some sports, but if you want to push it that bit further, you can. And I definitely think it's such a supportive community. My teammates are like family to me, and it's definitely worth getting down and giving it a go because everyone will be really supportive.
Beth, thank you so much for sharing more about your passion for dragon boating and wanting to encourage more women to get involved and to take up a different type of sport, one which they maybe haven't heard of. I really appreciate you coming on the Tough Girl podcast and sharing more about it. And best of luck with all your future races.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Hey, tribe, how are you doing? I hope you've been inspired by Beth's story about trying something new and getting out there. Now, this is actually the first episode that I think I've ever done on dragon boat racing. And I do think it's important to share the stories of maybe the lesser known sports which have had an impact. So big shout out to Beth for reaching out to me and for coming on the Tough Girl podcast to share more about her story. I'm just going to read out a little section that Beth wrote to me. She said, I'm looking to do a podcast with you because I'm really passionate about inspiring and empowering women. I find a lot of joy in creating safe and welcoming spaces for women to be themselves, no matter their background. I would also like to create more awareness of the sport, as it's not well known and it's a very inclusive sport. It is a very welcoming community and my team is like a family to me. Without paddling, I'm not sure where I would be today, and I cannot imagine my life without it. Beth, thank you again for reaching out, and thank you for sharing your story on the Tough Girl podcast. And look, if you are interested in taking up a new challenge, taking a new sport which is outside of your comfort zone, then check out the website, go along to the taster days, speak to other people who've done it. I know Beth would love for you to reach out to her, especially if you've got any dragon boating racing questions. She will happily answer them and happily, encourage you to get out there and give it a go. And who knows where it could take you? It could take you to the Great British Premier Dragon Boat Squad. Who knows? New episodes of Tough Girl Podcast go live every Tuesday, and with bonus episodes happening on a Thursday at 7 a.m. UK time. I'm trying to get approximately about 6 episodes out every single month. And when we hit August 4th, we are going to be celebrating 800 episodes of the Tough Girl Podcast. If you've got a story, or a person who's got an incredible story that you would like to hear on the Tough Girl Podcast, then please do reach out to me, sarah@toughgirlchallenges.com. It really does make a massive difference. I'd like to think that I am quite dialed into the world of adventure, but even sometimes I miss algorithms, or I'm just not aware of what's going on. So if you think I've missed something, if you think I need to promote something via my Facebook page, via my Instagram, please tag me in it. Please send me a DM at Tough Girl Challenges and I will do my best. Please do remember, it is just little old me trying to do all of this work. So sometimes things do slip through the cracks as well. So next week on the Tough Girl Podcast, we are going to be speaking to Christine Reed, who is going to be sharing her story as being a long distance backpacker. She's also the author of a new book called Blood, Sweat and Tears, which is amplifying the voices of women on the trail, and it's sharing unfiltered stories about periods, pain, perseverance and everything in between. So during the next episode, we talk about grief, growth, writing through discomfort and the courage it takes to follow your passions even when they feel far outside your comfort zone. So that's going to be an incredible episode with Christine Reed, an American long-distance backpacker and an award-winning author. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you'd like to support the work that I do, then please visit Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast, or you can make a one-off donation via PayPal. Links are all on the website, toughgirlchallenges.com. Thank you again for listening. All that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, give it your all. Give it 110%. Get after it. Go for it. Believe in yourself, because I believe in you. Take care. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.